Hey, and welcome back to Releve, where we introduce you to change makers in the dance industry and beyond. My name is Takia, and I'm so excited that you've decided to join us for another episode. This week's special guest is a phenomenal professional dancer with the Dance Theatre of Harlem, and her name is Amanda Smith. I can't wait for you to meet her. So, without further ado, Amanda Smith.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Smith. I am originally from Orange County, California, where I was born and raised and trained. Currently living in New York City, dancing with the Dance Theatre of Harlem. So my first studio was a small studio in California. I was mentored by a woman named Cheris Moses, who really just, you always need that one person to kind of like get you together. She kind of was the one that was like, you can make a living out of this. Like you have the talent, you have, the star quality. And, I just love to dance. My parents were like, this is a hobby, especially my mother. She was like, it's a hobby. For the longest time, she was like, no, she's going to be a doctor. For her and for my mom and dad's generation, like having a dance career, that was a really unknown thing. And especially as a woman of color. But my teacher, my mentor, she's the one that was like, no, she has to do this. She has this in her. It's in her heart. It's in her soul. And it really was. And it was something that I couldn't stop doing. I had to keep going. So I continued my training with Cheris at her studio. And then shortly after that, I moved on to a studio called Anaheim Ballet when I was in high school. And I was there for the 4 years of high school. And then I left high school and I moved from California to New York, where I danced at SUNY Purchase. I went to SUNY Purchase for 4 years and I continued my training there. And there I got to study abroad in Spain, which to this day is one of my favorite places to visit, to dance, to everything. I can't wait to go back. I danced over there, came back and finished, I think that was my junior year, finished out my junior year at Purchase. And then senior year I remember senior year just being like, boom, 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 audition, 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 which was crazy because I felt like I was auditioning every single weekend. And, they can be very overwhelming, especially, to some people, like going to college was like not a thing, especially as a ballerina. You think like, oh, you should get a job right out of high school. You should be going into a company, right? Auditioning at 18, 17. But my parents, I am very grateful and very thankful that they were very about education, getting your education and continuing your training. SUNY Purchase definitely prepared me, I think, for the professional world. And just kind of getting you slowly out there. So by senior year, I was auditioning, and I remember I got, called back for complexions, and I believe I had a call back for DTH. It was a very long audition. Unfortunately, at the time, I didn't get the job. I was really upset. I remember being very hurt, but I had to keep going, and I knew what I wanted ultimately was to dance in a professional company, so I was just going to keep going. Finally, North Carolina, at the time it was North Carolina Dance Theatre, they hired me to the second company, and I just remember being amazed by this was my first job, going into the studios and the space and just being like, wow, this could be my everyday thing, living a real life as an adult. That was crazy. It was just crazy. So I was really excited. And I was there for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. I started in the second company for that first year. And then I was hired to the first company after that. And, I enjoyed my time there, but when I left, it was time. I just felt like I wasn't growing. And I think when you get to a point where you're not growing, where you're not happy, you feel like you're stuck, you have to do something about it. You have to fix it. And I wasn't going to just stay there and be comfortable or continue to be in the back row or, not be seen the way I wanted to be seen and given the opportunities that I wanted to be given. So I left. And I think that was kind of the best choice for my whole entire career because so many things happened after that. So I left North Carolina Dance Theatre without a job. I started freelancing back. I moved to New York City. So I lived in Brooklyn, my first year living in New York City. Oh my goodness, the hustle and bustle of New York life is crazy. And when you're trying to get a job and you're trying to make a name for yourself in New York, it's just like, oh my gosh. And the constant no's you get from everybody. And I was still sending my stuff out to different companies throughout the country. I was nonstop on my computer, finding auditions, finding gigs. I started dancing with Black Iris Project. The founder of that is Jeremy McQueen. I believe he found me on social media, and we've been connected ever since. I love his work. I've done a lot of things with him. I think my first time at Kennedy Center was with Black Iris Project. We did Madiba, which was a ballet about Nelson Mandela, which is something I really appreciated, being a part of the Black Iris Project, which was like telling stories through ballet of women and men of color and the changes that they made in the world. So I really appreciate Jeremy McQueen for creating such an environment for that, because I had never really experienced anything like that before, especially growing up in Orange County, California. And then I got a job with New York Theater Ballet, which is a smaller company in the Lower East Side. It was great. I enjoyed my time there, but I was just like not quite getting to where I wanted to be. So, but these were building blocks. God works in mysterious ways. Even though that wasn't like the company of all companies, I ended up getting a Gap campaign from being in that company. So from there, that kind of sparked my other love, which is TV and film. Shortly after that, I was in Hawaii when I got the email from Virginia. And throughout this time, I was still auditioning. So I had auditioned for DTH, I believe, maybe 3 or 4 times. And each time there was always a reason why. It was like I was too short one year, I was too tall one year. And it just never was the right timing. I remember getting an email from Virginia saying, hey, can you come in and do like a little private audition at DTH? And I was like, is this real? Did she reach out to me? And walking into the building of Dance Theatre of Harlem, there's something magical that happens when you walk in there. It's like something just amazing that comes over you, and you feel the spirits of all the legends that have walked through that door, and the icons, and Mr. Mitchell, and what an environment he created. And I was just like, gosh, please, I have to be in this building. I got the email from Virginia that she was gonna hire me and all this stuff, and I lost it. I screamed. I was like, what? What? Like, I just remember being insanely excited and happy. So she hired me. That was July, I believe, and I've been with them ever since. And it's just been an incredible, incredible journey just alone with DTH. I mean, the traveling we do, the things that we see when we're on tour, it's always really interesting to see the reactions of people. But man, do they love DTH. And sometimes we get feedback from people like backstage, or people come see us after the show, and they're just like, you have no idea what kind of impact you're making on the world. And like, sometimes you forget, but you have to remember, like Mr. Mitchell said, this is something larger than us. And being a part of DTH, that's how I've continued to live my life, even outside of DTH. Like, whatever I do, I imagine it as something bigger and larger than I am. No matter what, you have to push through. And and sometimes it takes 4 or 5 times to audition for a place, but once you do and you make it, it's like doors open from there. It's been a long journey, and it's a continuous journey, but I'm looking forward to the next year and the next few years as to where I'll be, and yeah, just reconnecting with people and making connections and networking, even through social media. I mean, Instagram, I did a Supreme commercial, the brand Supreme. I did a commercial in this pandemic through, like, they hired me through social media, through Instagram. Creative directors are looking online, I mean, all the time, and you never know who's watching you. It's all about making yourself known and just reaching out to people. If you really want something, reach out. You never know what you'll get back. You can't be afraid of a no. You can't be afraid of a no response. It's really important to just put yourself out there. I know it's scary. I know it's risky, but remember, again, it goes back to being larger than you. Look how far we've all come. So I think it's important to take the risks that you've always wanted to take. Just go for it, and you never know what you'll get back.